When you hear about a church mission trip, what obstacles immediately come to mind? Is it finances, care for your kids, or still need to get your passport? If God is leading you in obedience in a short-term or longer-term mission trip, the challenges can be easily overcome. We'll hear about this and a whole lot more on today's episode of Here at Home. Welcome to the Here at Home podcast, a podcast about the people here at McGregor, their stories, their ministry, and their love for Jesus. My name is Danielle Flood, your host for the Here at Home podcast, and welcome to Season 4. Joining me on today's podcast is our Pastor of Missions and Evangelism, Wade Harmon. I'm thrilled to be here with you today.
Well, I'm excited to be here as well. Can't wait to see where the conversation leads us.
It's true. Yeah. Now we're going to have some fun, talk all things missions. And as we, get started, I want to give our listeners a chance to get to know you some. Mm-hmm. Who are you?
Right.
What do you do?
Right.
Yeah.
Well, I came on staff here in August of 2005,
Mm-hmm.
and so been here almost 19 years.
That's amazing.
Yes, as the missions pastor, and came off the mission field where we'd been serving with the International Mission Board of the Southern Baptist Convention for a number of years, and have really tried to help shape the direction of missions here at the church, where we go, what we do, who we support, and that sort of thing.
And so how was that transitioning from kind of an on-the-mission field partner to a sending partner?
Well, that was very interesting because I was not a pastor prior to serving on the field. I was in business and got called out of advertising marketing career and went to seminary and then served overseas, first in Indonesia, then in Costa Rica at language school, and then finally in the Dominican Republic. And so coming on staff here on a big mega church was quite a transition. And so I had some good mentors that were here on staff that helped me navigate that.
Yeah. So give us a kind of glimpse into your life, maybe most recently in the Dominican.
Right.
What did missionary work look like then?
Well, we were church planners. Our whole call was as church planners because we really feel that's one of the big methods God uses for advancing his kingdom all around the world is new church plants.
Yes.
And so we worked for the first part of the time with other Dominicans reaching out in their cultural context. And then towards the latter half of our time there, we switched over to Haitians who had come over to work mostly in construction sites and would help them start churches, and were able to start a couple of church plants with that. And so that was really neat.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah. I love the opportunity to meet people groups where they are, not just, in their home context, but there are, immigrant groups that are vibrant churches today.
Yeah, absolutely.
And then in generation after generation, they can see that, share that. Oh, so cool. And so coming to McGregor, you have a role in coaching, cheering.
Right.
What does that look like from your perspective? Like, how do you see your role here?
Well, the thing that thrills me the most is people that are interested in missions that come to dialogue with me, and I've been blessed over the years to help several people navigate the process of leaving here and going on the mission field, whether that's short term from a few weeks to a few months to a career.
Yeah.
We've had right at 60 people, a few before I got here, and then a bulk of them after I got here that have gone on to serve the Lord, and that's just exciting. We have a mission trip going out later this year, partnering with one of the couples that came out of our church and is serving in on a field that's really difficult, and so we're going to go there and partner with them, and so that's cool stuff.
Yeah, I missed you by inches.
Oh yeah, that's right.
So yes, my mentoring before. So in case you didn't know, I spent, but our listeners, I spent 2 years in Niger, West Africa, doing some church planting, kind of pre-church planting, and sharing Bible stories among the Fulani, and it was a life-changing experience.
No, absolutely.
And I was called when I was in college to, follow this, and God said, live among my people.
Yes.
Love them, share Jesus, and
Yes.
that's what I need you to do. And so,
Oh, that's so fantastic.
it is great. And
Yes.
this church was a huge part of my,
Yes.
emotional maturity,
Yes.
my spiritual maturity.
Right.
And then
Yeah.
getting to do that was an incredible honor.
Yeah. Yeah.
But so all of those 60, came out of this church. It could be you listening.
Absolutely. I hope it is you listening.
Yes.
I just, right before getting here, one of our church members, I met with her who's feeling a possible call as a nurse to go somewhere. And so this was the very first time I got to meet with her. I've already sent her an email with some things to look at, and
Yes.
we're going to just start going from there.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah. I love to see what God is doing. So do you have like a favorite, either short-term or long-term trip?
Well, I'd say my favorite trip had to be my first mission trip, which was to Zimbabwe. When I first got to seminary, I got called out of the business world in my early 30s. Go be a missionary. I didn't know what that was. And so we got to seminary in December of 1994, and I immediately started looking for an opportunity. And that spring, they had a mission trip to Harare, and got to get on that team. And it was just life-altering to be on my first mission trip and really see what the Lord had called us to. And then really our time as career missionaries when we started out on the island of Bali for nearly 2 years was just a thrill. I mean, I'm a Midwestern kid. It's like we're not in Kansas anymore.
Right.
And so, it was very dark spiritually. And so that was a really good experience.
Yeah. I think it's amazing to talk to people who have been on multiple trips, and that first trip seems to be a life-altering experience because you can't come back unchanged.
Exactly.
I know that's a double negative.
No. Yes.
Yeah, but you see the world for what it is.
Yes.
You see a depth of your faith you didn't understand before.
Right.
And that's one of the things that, like, a barrier to a first mission trip is it's missing the point for our people. And I want to encourage anybody listening to say, I should do that.
Right.
And just go on it. There's no commitment. Short-term trips are great for that. Because you can see what's happening and get some, insight into ministries around the world. It helps you pray more specifically and serve, more specifically. My first trip was actually not a mission trip. So it was a service project trip through university.
Okay.
So I got to see secular help and what it could offer.
Right.
And then to realize the underlying current of all these needs is Jesus.
Amen.
And so we did help, we did some, purposeful, supportive help. We made relationships, loved on people. But then when I got to see like what I wanted to pursue for a career, I said, that's not it. Because helping without Jesus is just still helping.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. So as we talk about, let's look at some of those barriers. I know we've talked about a couple of them. First of all, passport.
Yes.
Why is this such a hard process?
I don't know, and part of it is the process. Sometimes it takes a long time, and sometimes it's quick to get them. They are not all that expensive, although there is a cost to it, but they're good for 10 years. Get one and be ready. I mean, you have no excuse not to have one in case the Lord taps you on the shoulder. You're ready to go.
We should just have one.
We should.
Nate makes fun of me. I carry my passport in my wallet.
What?
It fits.
Are you serious?
I love it.
That's so cool.
It is very cool. So I did lose my driver's license for like a day and a half, and I had my passport, and I was preparing what to say if I got pulled over.
Right.
I'm so sorry. I do have a driver's license. I know its number. I have a passport. But, just in case we want to go. No.
You're ready to go.
It's ready. I don't know why I do that, but it feels good.
Yeah, it does feel good.
And to have it. And so another one.
Yes.
Finances.
Right. And that always seems to be one of the first things that comes up to people in their minds is how is this going to get paid for? And there's so many different avenues that you can combine in order for the trip to be covered. Some of the trips are less expensive than other trips. Some of them are expensive. And then, if you're taking time off work, but I have yet to see someone that really wanted to go on a mission trip not go because of finance. I don't think I can think of anyone in my tenure here that hasn't gone.
Right. We started in college, and that is, the meagerest income that anyone could have, and there's always enough. And we shared, and some people had more than others, and it just it worked out. And there are sponsors, and it's amazing how God provides through asking. So we've talked about, we can help people make fundraising letters.
Yes.
You send it to a list of people.
Right.
You don't even have to say, well, can they afford it? That's between them and the Lord.
Right, exactly.
Sometimes people are called to give that can't, but it's their obedience. And I think it's really exciting to see God provide in those ways where you don't know where the money's coming from.
Exactly.
And then it is. We had a trip that I was feeling called to go on to Cuba a number of years ago, and it did not make sense for, I had a 2-year-old.
Right.
And Nate was supportive, but here, our 3 children are going to be with you for a week, so I can go to Cuba on a mission trip. Didn't make sense. And on top of that, I was reading the Bible and kind of praying through this trip, and God said, you actually don't need to ask anybody for money.
Don't you love it when he does that?
No, I did not. I was confused.
Right.
I that's not a thing because I know how it works. You write a letter, you ask for money, and people who want to give partner.
Right.
But the story of I'm preparing to go on this, and I'm really excited. I'm not sure how God's going to provide. People gave.
Right.
It was so amazing because I heard his words like, don't ask.
Yeah.
We made bread. We sold it.
Yep.
We made jam.
I think I bought some of that jam.
It is so good.
Yes.
We'll do it again.
Okay.
Yes. I love putting the energy into it because it means that people can see our passion for this and get something for it. So then they're reminded to pray and they enjoy it. Everyone loves good food.
Yes.
So, yes, the Floods love to
it was mighty fine jam.
Do that. Thank you so much. But yeah, so the jam worked, the bread worked, and God provided through it all. And that trip was completely paid for without me asking anyone. Right. And my trust in God's provision was, greatly increased. Right. And so, we want that for other people. And if you do get stressed and say it's toward the end, what can we do? There are a couple other ways.
Absolutely.
So I Googled a little bit last week looking for some ideas that I hadn't thought of before. And they said, host a garage sale.
Oh, yeah.
Real quick. You need, a little bit of money. Garage sale for missions. Bake cook something homemade. I've had some friends that made the lasagnas, and you sell them for, a meal, and someone gets a meal provided. A community trivia night. So you get your neighbors together. Nice. Every team has a little bit of money in the pot, and then you have that. Or a tea or painting party. Okay. Yeah. And I think one other thing we did was a Zumba class. So dancing to Christian music together, fitness.
There's no limit to the creative ideas that you could do. Yes, absolutely.
No, that is really fun. But all to say, please don't let finances keep you from a mission trip.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So care for children.
Right.
That's hard for some people.
Absolutely.
And it may not be someone's season to go. You can pray, you can give, in others, and it could be that other seasons are better for you.
Because we always want, beyond the people on the field, a large number of people that are supporting through prayer here stateside. And so if it isn't your season right now, go to an informational meeting on the trip. Find out ways that you can engage with the trip. And it might be through giving to somebody else or praying, or there could be some other logistical things that you could do here stateside. But there are ways to get plugged into the trip if this isn't a season right now for you.
You could make jam for someone else.
Jams, no jellies.
That's so funny. I missed one on my list, though. So have you heard of Zazzle?
No.
Okay,
I don't think so. Yeah.
No, it's a custom T-shirt shop online.
Okay.
So you really quick, make a design,
Right.
T-shirt, and you upload it, and
Okay.
they give you 6 or 8 options where people can purchase their
Okay.
shirts without having to buy 100 shirts. And
Right.
have an outlay.
Yeah.
So it's on-demand printing.
Yes.
And if you have people that want to support you, they get a shirt.
Right.
You get the kind of the balance
Right.
of the fundraiser. It's
Zazzle.
one of them.
I like it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we can have, I saw a really cute shirt that said, "Can ya dig it?" for a Kenya fundraiser. Why not?
Oh, my word.
I know. Niger
Yeah.
doesn't have any fun puns.
Yes. Well, we'll come up with something.
Okay. So, health. We talked about the finances. Work could be a challenge. There are ways to get around them.
Right,
but
right.
I think as a community, our church wants to support people and see if there are, what can we do?
Absolutely.
Yeah, to help
Yeah.
you. So when you go on a trip, like what does a short-term trip look like?
Right. Well, one of the things we really try to do is partner with missionaries and entities on the field that have a specific strategy for reaching a people group or target group wherever they're serving. And we don't want to go with our agenda. We always want to be part of something that will benefit the missionary for accomplishing the tasks that they're trying to accomplish. And so some teams have gone out, they've been medical teams, and they've used that platform to have people come in and then evangelize them through that, or just any number of different things that teams will go do. It could be training or teaching on the field, but it all lines up with the needs of the missionary above what we want to do as a church. So,
but there are diverse opportunities.
Yes,
I know that some of our trips host a VBS.
Yes.
So if you've ever served at McGregor's VBS, go do that in the Dominican.
Yes.
Great place.
Sports we do. Yeah. Teaching English as a second language. Yep. All sorts of things.
Absolutely. And whatever skills you have can be put to use on a mission trip.
Yes. I'm reminded on that first Zimbabwe trip, quite often when we served overseas, we would show the Jesus film. And we would prep that before going out to show it somewhere, and it would run beautifully. And inevitably, you get to where you're going and something wouldn't work. Just a number of things. Well, we were in a township outside of Harare showing the Jesus film, and the projector just goes down. And I walk up to it, and it's the same exact projector that in high school I set up in classrooms day in, day out. And I just looked at it, click, 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 and got it running. So God, He is giving you a life's worth of experiences, and you don't know what He's going to pull out or use at any time, any place for His glory and advancing His kingdom. So, you never know what He's going to use.
And we heard months ago at GIC, Chris George shared about his, drumming experience.
Right.
And that was so cool. He said, "I'm not much of a teacher. I just play."
Right.
But he used some of that to share with starter drummers.
Right.
And hang with them. And how cool.
It's so cool. God will use you.
And so as we go in with their agenda in mind and their strategy, what if someone doesn't know what to do?
Right.
Is there training?
Yeah, there's always training. We have team meetings ahead of time. We work with the missionaries on the field, and they will often give us material. We have a team going to South Asia here soon, and so they'll provide materials they want us to cover with training pastors over there. So inevitably, the personnel on the field will direct us with the training.
Yeah. And all for that unified vision of seeing God's church proclaimed.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
I love that every little act of mission trip can be all for that same vision.
Exactly.
That's really cool. So what do you want others to know about kind of your call to missions if they're maybe thinking about, I don't know what that would feel like. What is a call? Right.
Well, for me personally, I was in advertising marketing. I loved it. I was in my early 30s. I had lived in the Midwest. I had several clients that had regional or national accounts. It was a blast, very creative, and was very active in church with different aspects of setting up church plants in high schools, helping lead worship, just doing whatever I could, and just that wasn't enough for the Lord, and he made it clear that I was either going to keep sitting on the fence or get off the fence. And so I decided to get off the fence, and starting in January of 1994, I've just been with him the whole ride.
A little bit like would you say a water slide, or what do you call it? I forgot the word.
Okay.
You ride in a car and it's crazy fast and loop the loops, and yeah.
It's something.
It's a roller
Let's
coaster.
go. Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. But, I tell people that are experiencing or feeling like they're pursuing a call, it is the best thing you will ever do.
Yeah.
I'll tell you one more brief anecdotal story. Right after I shared with my amazing wife that I felt called, she said, well, I'm not going to take our son to some, foreign place, and the next day in the mail, unsolicited, was a 32-page brochure written by missionary kids about how great it was to be a missionary kid.
Wow.
In the mail the next day.
Wow.
And so she called me up. Okay, we'll go, because God, he'll let you know.
Yeah. He's got it. And it doesn't have to be, career missions.
Right.
Many of us are called to stay here and go.
Absolutely.
But be those goers. And the benefits to your faith and your family,
right,
your church, and your community, I think it's all tied up together.
Absolutely.
If we can be obedient and go with open hands, saying, God, I don't know what it is I have that you want.
Right.
But obviously you're at work, and I will be obedient to do this.
Right.
It is exciting.
Yeah. Let's go find a mission trip.
Yeah. That's amazing. So we're going to make sure people have their passport.
Yes.
So checklist to do. So fun.
Yeah, just start there.
Yep. And then attend a meeting.
Yes.
Find a way you can pray for or support those going to that place.
Right.
You may have an affinity to a region of the world. We are so blessed to have so many mission partners.
Right.
To see, interest in places that you may never go.
Right.
But you can pray and serve. And then ways to overcome the funding barrier. Want to help people.
Right.
Encourage them, give support. And just look at, what obedience looks like.
Right.
One of the things, when I was in college, I was kind of feeling led to do missions, and it was pretty clear, but it wasn't happening yet. So there was timing, and I went on a mission trip and came back. And then thinking about this future plan for my life, God said, why would you go share the gospel somewhere else if you're not actively sharing it here?
Right.
And that was very convicting. I felt like I was doing most of what he was calling me to do, but maybe not all of the opportunities when there was someone to share with on my campus or, a roommate or a neighbor, something like that. And so using that challenge, I became more active in sharing my faith here in Fort Myers. And then opportunities opened.
Right.
So I'm not saying they were directly related.
Right.
It could be God's providence, but also just my faith and obedience was worth it. Even if I hadn't been able to go, that act of getting out of my comfort zone and saying, I need to be sharing my faith here.
Yes.
And we can change our community.
Absolutely.
God's power is so great. So it's exciting to see what's possible.
Yes.
In this year, and I hope that as people were inspired some months ago at GIC, that passion can continue.
Absolutely.
And if people have questions, where do they find you?
Well, I'm on the website, and it's also, if you email wade.harmon@mcgregor.net or call the church office, and they'll connect you to my office, and we would love to dialogue with anybody about missions and the opportunities that are available here.
Yeah, maybe we could have some mission mentors.
Ooh.
Connect people together and
yes, and get a T-shirt.
Oh yes, can you dig it?
Yeah.
Go get your passport. That's what it's going to say.
Yes.
Get your passport. Well, thanks, Wade, for coming with me on the podcast. I am confident someone gleaned something new, either about our upcoming mission trips or just being obedient where we are, and maybe they'll share on a future episode.
Absolutely. That'd be neat, wouldn't it?
Yes.
Yes.
I'm excited about that. Well, that does wrap up this episode at Here at Home. Thank you, listeners, for being part of our podcast community. If you haven't subscribed yet to Here at Home, please take a moment to click that button. And thanks for listening. We'll see you 2 weeks here at home.